Hey there, and welcome to Edda Financial. I am Lauren Guest, and I wanted to introduce myself a little bit to let you understand what I'm doing here, who I am, and love to get to know you more. So throughout this, I would love for you to leave comments and let me know who you are so I can know who's listening. If you are a Christian wife, if you are tired of fixating on the negativity of your finances, and if you just thirst for that financial peace, then you are in the right place. You need to stay longer. You have probably lost some sleep. You've been on different pages about money with your husband. And I'm done with this. I don't want this for you any longer. I have been in those places and they're just flat miserable. There's sleep lost, there are words thrown that you don't like, there are upset feelings, there's emotions, there's so many things that go into this that are just not serving you anymore, and I'm inviting you to something bigger. I'm going to help you find financial peace no matter what your current financial situation is. I'm going to fill you with God's truth about your marriage and money, and I'm going to give you the tools to finally hit financial goals as a financial team alongside your husband. I accomplished this through speaking, through writing, through coaching services, and I will link my website down in the comments so you can find any of that. As I grew up, like right now, I'm surrounded by boys. I am married to a man, and I also have 3 sons. We did get a girl dog, so I guess there is another woman here, but mostly guys. If someone told me 5 years ago that I'd be serving women, I would say they were absolutely crazy because I've always hung out with the guys. I had a really good friend say when I was growing up that I was just one of the guys. That's something that I enjoyed hanging out with the guys. And so, like I said, to be serving women, I would have thought you were crazy. But it did give me the benefit to you is it's given me a unique perspective, a unique kind of insight of the male species, because let's just face it, it's a little bit different than the woman species. We can love them in it, but it's just different. This has been a fun journey. And like I said, if somebody told me that I was going to serve women 5 years ago, I wouldn't have believed them. I would call them crazy. But, when God calls you to do something, you don't ask questions. Even though I asked several questions, you go for it and you go forward in faith. And it has been such a rewarding journey to build these relationships with women. A little bit of backstory. We used to be in the oil field. My husband was a pipeline welder, and we didn't travel with him because we had a home and cattle and horses and a business here at home. So we didn't travel with him. We were away from him. We'd see him at most every weekend, but it was usually every 2 or 3 weekends we would see him. At this point, we had 1 son, and then we're in the middle of having our second. And during that time, we paid off and cash flowed over $220,000 worth of debt. And I say paid off and cash flowed, some of it was debt. We had 2 kids without insurance, so we had to pay for them. We had 2 pickups, 2 brand new pickups. That's a whole nother story for another day. We had, when I say cash flowed, we bought a boat with a tax return in there. We had to buy a new air conditioning system at one point in there. So some of that was cash flowed too. But in those 4 years, there were several things that happened. And I will say in those 4 years, there were some pretty dark moments. Coming into this marriage, I didn't have any debt. I was blessed and favored and everything else. And I was able to come into this marriage without any debt. It was choices of my own as well. I didn't like the uncertainty of it. My husband, on the other hand, had no problem with debt. He had no problem with having these things hanging over his head. He didn't see it that way. I did. And so there was a lot of dark moments. There was lots of why God moments. There was lots of nights that I didn't sleep. There was lots of crying. There was lots of fights. There was so many things that happened in that time. And these will all be stories for another day. But I want you to know that I've been there. I've been in very, very dark moments. I have not always been where we are now, where we are debt-free and have a good emergency fund. And we are now self-employed. We made all these changes by getting on the same page about our finances. And now I may not say the same page. We're in the same chapter. We're on the same book. We're in the same chapter. We still have differences because we were raised different. We have different fears. We have different motivations. There's still differences because we're two human beings. And that's where I want to get you to, is a place of understanding and peace, and being able to go forward in a process that is good for both of you, that is sustainable for both of you. That is the beauty of what I do. And I've walked it, and I've helped other women walking through this too. And so those are some of the things I do. As far as location, where do I live? I live in the Texas Panhandle, and we're in the pretty part of the Texas Panhandle. I grew up in the flats. Now I'm more in the hills of the Texas Panhandle. If you don't know, there are actually hills and really pretty trees in the Texas Panhandle. It's just not talked about much. So that's where we are. But thankfully, the pandemic did something good. It brought us all together through Zoom. So I can work with people through this, through video conferencing, and through phone calls. We can always connect. So don't let location be a hindrance to you. Like I said, I'm happy to do things this way as well. And I look forward to knowing more about you. So drop in the comments. Let me know who you are, where you're from, how long you've been married. Give me something to visit with you about. And I look forward to getting to know you more.